Because how would a 15-year-old girl know enough about Sandy? Wasn't that over 10 years ago?
I think it was 2012 or 2013.
So she would have just been born. She would have been in diapers. So how would a 15-year-old girl even know enough about Sandy Hook unless she's so disturbed that she's researching it? Yeah, and like becomes fixated on this guy. But like that's bizarre. Like, because Slender Man at least is like this dark fantasy thing that I don't want to say is kind of like, you know, always out there, but it's like a story, like Little Red Riding Hood, for example. Not that's a bad example, but you know what I mean. It's like, oh, it's a story that doesn't matter what age you'll learn about it or hear about it, possibly at some point. I guess you would learn about Sandy Hook in history books now, just like 9/11. That's how old we are. They weren't in our history.
Well, I think just school shootings in general like have become like more of a commonality, unfortunately, and so people. I mean, that I was just thinking when we were in high school, I mean, nothing like this. Obviously, this isn't normal or commonplace regardless, but this wasn't even a discussion in school of these crimes, let alone hearing about people planning them. It was just not on our radar, where now true crime is much more common. Yeah, it's you hear about people it more. Are discussing at a younger age.
But even school shootings, and I don't want to get off topic too much here, but even school shootings for that matter, when we were growing up, Columbine was it.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's when I was in high school. Yeah. I never was exposed to that at a younger age.
No. And it's not that we just had like blinders on. It just really wasn't happening, you know? So my point is like, it's this drawback to history while she was like a toddler or even before she was born, and she became fixated on him and thought that by sacrificing her classmate, she would not only bring him back from the dead, but share a blood bond with him, which that's where I get super concerned and, you know, disturbed with so many teens that we're hearing believe in things like that, to where it's like, what are they consuming? Obviously, social media is horrible at such a young age, and like the video games and all of that, but where they actually believe that this is real.
It's like cult-like.
Yeah, it's very scary. And I always say this term and I always butcher it, but you guys tell me in the comments. Folie du?
Never heard of that.
You haven't?
No.
I think we've said it before and you also had said you've never heard of it. It's basically when like two people meet and they're so diabolical. Like, how does that work? And then they do it. It's like the Joker and what's her face?
I'm not a Batman
Harley
gal.
Quinn. Okay, forget it. But anyway, it's like this phenomenon where it's also kind of like, how do these two people connect? Because you could argue both of them perhaps have mental health issues. But it's also like, how do you become best friends and then you both think that way and you both truly believe that you can bring someone back from the dead if you do this? It's just like...
I think we were talking about that kind of connection with the people who are in charge of twin flames.
Yes. Where it's like, how do you both have such shared delusional thinking? Yeah. So anyway, that all went down, and obviously is super unsettling that they believed this is what would happen. And thankfully, because of that anonymous tip that had come in, none of this actually came to fruition. The plan was stopped before anybody was physically harmed, which is obviously the best possible outcome in a situation like this. However, what's actually really out there and fueling public reaction is what happened after their arrest. Because both of these girls were placed in the back of a patrol car and they didn't realize they were being recorded. Very much like Aiden Fucci. Actually, he didn't know he was being recorded, but he also recorded himself on Snapchat because he's a little weasel. But in this footage of these two girls, they're laughing, they're joking. At one point, Lois even says, "This is such a bonding experience. I love this." And then Isabel says she doesn't even feel guilty. They were also talking about the potential prison time that they may have to serve, joking about their mugshots, and just acting completely unfazed by what they were being accused of, which, for those of you watching on YouTube, take a look at this video. If you're listening on the podcast, listen to it. And then if you want to watch the video, warning, it's unsettling, you can go check it out on my YouTube. But take a listen.
Yeah, promiscuous. We're going to become one of those lesbian couples now in jail? Yeah, and you could be the yes. Hey, this is my stay away. Yeah. Were you trying to look good for your mugshot?
Oh, am I gonna get a mugshot?
Well, we're going to jail. What do you think?